welcome, dear listeners, to our episode of Eli EdTalks, the podcast where we explore the latest trends and innovations that are shaping the future of education and L&D. I'm your host, Inna, a learning strategist at Eli, and today joining our conversation is Valeriia Forostianova, an experienced L&D professional, learning advisor, and skills facilitator who brings the wealth of practical experience to our discussion. Today, we'll cover advancements in event facilitation, the role of learning professionals in AI implementation, differences in EdTech adoption between businesses, and future perspectives on the evolving role of learning professional amidst rapid AI advancements. Hello, Valeriia. I'm so happy to see you here today.
Hi, Inna. Thank you for having me. I'm also very excited to join.
So, Valeriia, actually, each and every one of our podcasts, we start from rapid fire questions. This is the same set of questions that we ask each and every guest of ours, and by the end of the season, we summarize their answers. So, if you're ready, let's go with that.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So, first things first, what book or a resource can you recommend on L&D or educational topics?
Well, the first book I'm reading myself right now is I also have it on my desk at the moment. It's a Trusted Learning Advisor. I don't know if you can see it, but it's by Kit Keating.
Yeah.
I helped to host the session with him in the L&D Shakers community, and I love the book. I use Post-its and highlighter, so I think it's a must-read for learning professionals.
Believe it or not, I've just connected with him today on LinkedIn and wrote him. So that's just, destiny.
Cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
Second one, who do you recommend to follow or invite to this podcast from L&D experts?
Two people come to my mind. The first person is Anna Maria Dorgo. She is the founder of L&D Shakers community, basically the community that connected us. And the second person is Ross Stevenson, but I know you already invited him.
Yeah.
So I think those people would be my top choice.
Yeah, that's a great choice. Okay, can you share a memorable failure or a setback in your L&D journey, and how did you overcome it?
Sure, it was quite personal a few years ago. Well, actually, learning and development was always a passion of mine, and I started doing bits and pieces in every job I was doing. And a few years ago, I had some career change, and back then there was a position in the company I work for, a position of learning and development specialist. So it was like a sparkle for me, a light, and I already built dreams how I'm gonna proceed in the role. And then there was a thunder in the light day. My manager told me that I was not mature enough to proceed, and there was someone more strong candidate. So it was a good lesson for me. And even though I decided still to proceed and take this experience of applying, and what I got in the end, first of all, I didn't get the role, but what I got, experience, goosebumps during the preparation for the interview, and that was a clear sign for me that that's the path I need to follow as my career navigation. And after that, I was investing time, effort, resources in developing skills that can help me to become the person within L&D world I want to be.
Yeah, it's funny because every time I ask this question from our speakers, I think that, hey, actually the failure or a setback is always a fantastic lesson or like a jumpstart for something new and amazing, right? Yeah. So next, what question must be asked on a job interview for L&D specialist? If you could choose just one.
There's a difference between asked by manager or asked by a candidate. Which one?
Asked by a manager.
By a manager.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think there are many questions that can be asked to open up the candidate, but the first that come to my mind is how would you deal with the skepticism or resistance of learners in their adoption, in their learning journey, because that's what we see everywhere, especially when the company is not ready to a change.
That's a great one. Yeah. It shows the perspective. Okay, and last but not the least, if you had to give one piece of advice for someone who is just starting their career in L&D, what would that be?
I think it's a slogan of a brand. Just do it. That's what I did from my experience. I started with small steps. I didn't know back then where it would lead me, but the moment you show up, the moment you decide to take the ownership of your career, then miracle happens, and then one step leads to another, and people start attracting to your life. So I would say the miracle of small steps, and just do it.
Yeah. That's a fantastic piece of advice. So let's move on to our main agenda. We've got several topics to cover, and let's start from facilitation. So me personally, I'm not into the field. So for me, analyzing the shifts, right, in the last couple of years due to COVID and many other reasons, so the whole industry must have changed. How do you see the industry a couple of years ago and now, and what to expect more?
Yeah, I can speak from, let's say, learning cohorts. As I said in the beginning, I'm part. The place we met is L&D Shakers community, which is amazing, and I hardly promote it. And over there, I see a great boost of using technologies in any learning sessions, and that's for me a great model. So, for instance, 1.5 years ago, I joined a non-conference event where was a perfect balance of using of technologies, different tools, and connection with participants, also the moment of vulnerability, moment of trust, openness. So I think in that moment, in that period, when there is a balance, it worked in a good direction. To opposite, when recently I had experience with a gamified session, and that was a bit challenging for me, and it was I had a feeling of some pushback because on the 15th minute of that session, I realized, oh, okay, I didn't get it, I don't like it, and I simply just wanted to quit the session. But because there were not so many people, it would be too obvious. So I decided to stay, but I didn't enjoy it that much. So I think it's a combination of who is using the tool, how it's been used, what are the instruction, preparation, etc. So AI for me is more a tool, and it's important that you know how to apply those tools.
And how can you apply it in facilitation? I remember you once told me that Miro, that everybody used that at least once in their life. I'm pretty sure that it's also an example of AI, which shocked me. So in general, how can you apply AI to facilitation?
For example, there is a platform which is called Butter. It's often used in L&D Shakers community and also Butter community itself.
I've been to. Love it.
It's analog to Zoom, but for me, it's more fun, more engaging, more more fun, let's say. And what it has in the end, it combines and collects all the insight throughout the session. It shows you the statistics, the engagement, the key points. So it helps you, for instance, to follow up, or if you want to promote something afterwards. So it gives you a recap of what has been done. So it's a great facilitator assistant, I would say. So that helps a lot. And from my personal experience, I often use, for example, ChatGPT to come up with, to brainstorm, to come up with ideas for check-in or for icebreakers that are linked to the topic of the session, because it's important that your icebreaker is not some random activity, but it somehow has a bridge with the topic of the session. So yeah.
Yeah, fantastic example. Talking about butter, the first time I entered the platform, I couldn't believe my own eyes, because we are used to the limitations of Zoom or Google Meet or anything like that, but that's the next level of facilitation. Fully agree.
And it's so simple, yet so amazing and effective.
Yeah. And it somehow bridges the engagement in terms of webinars. Me is not a professional in this term, but I think everyone experienced that. Okay, through Zoom, it's extremely hard to engage the learner and truly create a meaningful conversation. But somehow it is possible right now just because of the technology. So it really is something that was hard to imagine a couple of years ago, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about AI. So I think last year, many of us have spent quite a while trying to analyze and navigate the path of adopting AI and implementing it into L&D. And this has not been an easy journey, but certainly fruitful. So what key conclusions can you draw after a while, after a year, right?
Well, first of all, and I shared it with you before, I think AI at the moment, generative artificial intelligence is now a huge hype. And everyone is talking about it. Everyone is trying to talk, to speak, and to see how it can change the future, how it can help in the business. But not many companies apply it first of all, and not many have results to share. Funny enough, the person I spoke about, Ross Stevenson, he has amazing newsletter which is called Still the Thoughts, and today I received this week edition, which included 3 use cases of the companies who applied AI in their business, and how it changed and leveraged productivity. Just the bright example was from McKinsey & Co. It's a consulting big company. They created a ChatGPT, which is called Lily. And the idea they had is to help them analyze quickly the huge database that they own, and make some space for employees and for people who work there to invest more time into the meaningful human conversation with clients. So in the end, this chatbot Lily helped them to achieve so.
Yeah, processing large chunks of information is something incredible with AI. This has really been such a huge support in daily business. But once I heard you saying that learning professionals should act as strategic business partners, right? So can you elaborate a little bit more on that? So the link between AI, learning professional, and being a business partner. So how do you connect that? How do you see this topic?
Well, on top of AI being a huge hype nowadays, we see that it's a near future, already existing future for us, and it means that we as learning professionals for sure need to invest our time, resources, energy to get ourselves familiar with it, to know how it works, to know how to draft prompts, how to effectively use AI, for example, chatbot, ChatGPT, how it can help us with repetitive tasks, how it can help us to overcome barriers, which can be quite technical or administrative. In this case, chatbot can be supportive. and the role of learning professionals becoming more evolves into learning business partner, where human skill stand up, and that's the place where we can bring the expertise, the helicopter view of how learning can boost the productivity, how learning can create a better work environment, can unite people, can motivate. And I think in near future, it will be the role of learning professionals to stand up, to talk to the business, and to take the role of owners and not just order takers. So to push back, to come up with data, come up with researches, and have a meaningful discussion, conversation with business.
I love this approach that learning specialist is kind of in between, so in the middle. I once have told you that I've had a very similar conversation with the CEO of my company, and I've expressed a very negative thought that a lot of professions will be substituted, and I was so my approach was quite radical, I suppose. Right now I see that, but he has expressed a very similar thought, and there has to be always a human in between technology and the demand, right? So our managers and the leaders of the companies, they wouldn't need to know specifically how do you perform, how do you conclude some tasks, right? But they would need to see the results, and we can provide them better, more efficiently if we adopt some ways, but it doesn't have to be that we could be substituted in any way, right? So
it's indeed more about developing the skills and giving yourself more time to something more meaningful, and outsourcing how Ross Stevenson says, shitty stuff to robotic.
Perfect example. And really perfect way to sum up the topic, because when I remember myself doing Excels, then I spending hours on something that I absolutely hated, and now thinking that this can be done in seconds, this just blows my mind. But when we talk about adoption, so this sounds fantastic, right? That the things that you can do. But when we talk about adoption of any EdTech solutions, it comes to so many variables. For instance, the management attitude, the resources that you have, and you can't really sum it up to just one variable. However, in my perspective, this variable could be the size of the company. So from what I see, small businesses, middle businesses, and enterprises, they adopt technology in gradually different ways. What's your take on that?
There are some, I would say, similarities and differences. I saw similarities in terms of the duration. Let's say if it's a project, it always takes more time that the team is aiming for. So it can take 1, 2, even 3 years, and even then it won't be ready or fully ready. And also it requires support and involvement of senior stakeholders. In terms of the differences, decision making, when we are talking about big corporates, decision making can be tough. Just give you an example. In one of my previous experience, we did an MVP project. We tried to launch something like ChatGPT, but before ChatGPT was announced, we did customized chatbot only for 2 countries. It took us 2 years to invest, to find providers, and when we were ready to for the program to be installed and start the trial period, we got a blockage from senior vice vice president who was in New York. So it was ridiculous because the budget was 10K. The impact was only for the local teams. So after 2 years of hard work, so many approvals from local senior managers, we got wake no or wake yes and obvious no from global head office. So that was a pity, but also learning that in such projects you always need to keep your senior stakeholders informed, involved, and keep them on the same side with you, so they can contribute when it's most required.
Yeah, it was a really great example. Thank you for sharing. And to tell you the truth, I've faced very similar situations when you spend so much energy and resources and time on doing something and really rooting for the project, which was approved. I loved you saying that vague yes and straight no, right? If I'm right.
Yeah.
So that's how it usually is. And I think that enterprises in terms of resources will drive the EdTech solutions implementations just because they have finances to afford them, right? However, in terms of stakeholder management, this is our job to drive it and to prove the benefit, because especially I suppose with L&D, sometimes it's hard to show a particular result that would satisfy business.
Yes, I agree with your point that it's our job, and also if there is a change team involved to speak up and to show the business, first of all, the people readiness of the organization. Because in the end, you will feel if they are not ready, you will feel such a massive pushback and resistance that it will stop you and stuck from achieving what you want to achieve. And also the communication alignments, the stakeholder engagement, the senior stakeholder engagement. I think it's for middle and small businesses, it's a must-have because people always watch what their managers up for. And if those people are not involved and they don't take it seriously, then what's the sense?
Yeah. Stakeholder management is one of the biggest skills, I guess, that we must develop, because navigating in terms of, and it doesn't matter, right? So small, middle enterprises, that's one of the most crucial aspects. But are there any other particular strategies that are more effective for one group or the other in terms of implementing AI? So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say it's still quite fresh. So AI implementation is still quite fresh for companies, for different companies. And you hear people talking a lot, but you hardly see examples of applying those practices. So to opposite, in the learning communities, I see more usage of tags, but when it comes to local companies or big corporates, it's a bit different approach.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I was thinking that maybe if we start from the other side, that in terms of educating the educators, right? So can we somehow, because speaking of some of the researchers that have been made, and if you ask the learning community, then what do you think about AI? Around a third will answer that I need more explanation on that. I'm not sure. So
Yeah.
what do you think about that?
I would say even less out of learning cohort will tell you that, yeah, we need more explanation. We need more onboarding. So I would say, if, as a learning professional, it's a perfect time to start investing in your skills now, to start practicing or experimenting, exploring what tools you might use in your daily work, what works, what doesn't work, because there are so many different applications, so many different versions of generative AI that you can use, but not all of them can be useful for you. So
I agree. Yes, yes. And you won't know unless you try. How to try, right? This very next question that could be asked, then what do I do? Where do I search? I can't just Google AI, right? So, well, you can technically. However, there is a website called There is an AI for that. So you might start from that and just exploring how can you substitute some maybe mundane activity, like we remember today, Excel, right? So
yeah,
think of a task. So don't go from the tool, right? So you see something shiny, nice and shiny, and you think, I need that. But start from your needs, right? So that
indeed, analyze your problem, think about repetitive tasks and what takes the most, what sucks the most of your time and energy, and if this or that task can be done by someone else. So
yeah.
And then invest time in exploring it.
Yeah, I think that would be the perfect advice for the starters, for those of you who don't know where to, launch and kick off your journey. But speaking of the future role, right? So we talked about present time. It's extremely difficult to make any sorts of predictions, but let's speculate on that a bit. How do you see the role of learning pros evolving in the future, considering AI?
I see it as learning professional becoming more human-centric experts, human-oriented. So those experts whose job cannot be done by artificial intelligence, because in human-centric, everything is important. How you feel, what is the emotion level, energy level. So that is what important for learning professionals. And of course, to have this one-to-one personal conversation with the business, and AI can assist here, but not fully take it from there.
I love this conclusion, and I fully relate with an idea of human-centered design. And it's so easy to get lost in the technology, right? That you go from what we've discussed, that you start from the tool and not from the need. You start from the benefit that you might get and not from the human who will actually receive these benefits. So I love the conclusion. And as we sum up this episode, we encourage you to reflect on our discussions and consider how these insights can shape your approach to L&D in your organization. And stay tuned for more thought-provoking discussions on the future of learning. Until the next time, don't forget to rate the episode if you liked it. And thank you for listening. See you next time.
Bye-bye.